G'day everyone, and welcome to the start of something important. Something that I'm really excited to get some work done on. With my YouTube channel getting to 91,000 subscribers or something, I realized I should start planning for my 100,000 subscriber special. Because when I did my 1,000 subscriber special, it actually turned into my 10,000 because it took me so long to do. And that was the giant dominoes build that I made, where I knocked over 1,000 dominoes, which is why it was supposed to be 1,000 subscribers. So I thought I would start this one early. Ooh, that was unpleasant. Forgot that bit was in the time lapse. Let's get rid of that. So, what I am going to do today is begin the build of an amusement park. It's going to be something with a Ferris wheel, a roller coaster, teacups, all of those fun things that we can build with rotors and with pistons and with all that sort of stuff. And my intention for this place is to make it at least within the realms of what you can do in Space Engineers, human scale. So I'm not going to be doing big things using cranes and stuff like that because we can't make it small enough for it to work at that human scale. I'm leaning towards making this as vanilla as possible. In theory, if I do that, it means it kind of shows off more of what is possible in vanilla. And I'm just trying to think where on the Earth I would like to build this thing. However, there is a reason to go modded if I choose to go modded, which is I could potentially do this on a planet with lower gravity, which would mean we'd be able to make stuff that plays around with gravity gens. And I'm slightly tempted toward that, because it would open... Actually, check that. If I want to play around with gravity stuff, I could just make a moon amusement park. Make an Earth one and a moon one, if I end up getting that far. So maybe I'll stick to the Earth one being the rotor, piston, etc. amusement park, and then go to the moon for making other stuff. No, not Triton. Triton's really boring and white and snowy. I kind of want something that's blue skies, green ground. Yes, Arthurian. We're sailors on the moon. We carry a harpoon. I can't remember the rest of that song, even though I should, because I've seen that episode about 6 or 8 times. Because I've watched pretty much every episode of Futurama that many times. So, what sort of location would I like to pick? I want somewhere with a bit of a view, but I want it to be green. About if I build it toward the edge of this, so that if I want to, with the roller coaster, dump off the edge or do something fun like that, I can. And then we can just think about an entry that is somewhere around here-ish. I'm going to need quite a lot of area for this thing. Yeah, let's make it here. Park entry. There we go. Textfire is there. I thought even funny clowns can sometimes be scary. Funny clowns or scary clowns? I reckon both. I agree with Jackson. Both. Thanks, Dragnon. Ah, yes, bumper cars. That is something I want to do with zero friction wheels. Thanks, Lucas. Amusement park, eh? Well, people go to those to be flung around by scary machines, and apparently I build some of the scariest ones out there. Ah, speaking of scary machines, please tell me I have my Ferris wheel in my blueprints. Yes! Okay. Now, there's something awkward with this Ferris wheel blueprint, and it's a big part of why I've never published this. This thing, unfortunately, once you paste it in the ground like this. Oh, maybe it's not anymore. It used to be that the small grids would go static as soon as I pasted it into the voxels. And so what I have to do is detach the whole Ferris wheel and then reattach it to the base. Let's check this out. See if this works. Oh, it should be spinning actually. I think I've got it permanently on. Yes. So yeah, here we go. This small grid is actually a static grid. I don't think I can change that either. Let me check with a control panel. Yeah, I don't think it actually fixes it. I think I'd have to do it to every single arm. So, I have a means to make this work. Where shall I put the Ferris wheel to begin with anyway? Maybe the Ferris wheel could go near the edge. Yeah, I had quite a bit of fun setting up the light effect on that Ferris wheel. It was painful, but it was fun to get it right. Somewhere around there. Alright, I need to go to space. And then I need to paste my Ferris wheel. Oh, I'm not fully in space. No, I mean I'm not out of the gravity. That would help. Actually, I think I need to paste that from the blueprint. This should be spinning, but it's not. Okay. Sure. We detach. Oh, wait. I know what to do. Global permissions. Allow damage. There we go. I should be able to copy that, paste it down there, and then I'll be able to paste this whole thing onto the bit that's down there. Once I put a rotor part on it. Because I have to get rid of the rotor part. At least that's how it's worked in the past, so hopefully it'll work this time. I just have to do it in chunks. I also need to turn off my trash removal. So I don't want any trash removal happening. Well, that was weird. Thanks, Bergen. Is that that? There will be a roller coaster. There will be. I already have plans on how to do that. Something I've worked on quite a while ago that I know works. It'll probably be an inverted one. Because that's going to be the way that I can make it look best. Oops. Why are you doing that to me? Just keep making me go all weird when I teleport. Okay, that's gonna hurt. Let's grab this from a convenient spot to paste it from. Yes, the roller coaster is quite a challenge to set up in Space Engineers. But it can only, the way that I've got in mind to build it is only possible in creative mode because it requires the use of voxel hands to make it so that you can do it without having to have a billion rotors. Oh man, how am I going to get this aligned correctly? What? Why won't you let me paste you? No. Dang it. Let's get rid of that. Let's see if it'll let me do it now. Aha. Okay, this is going to take a bit of fiddling to get this right. I reckon I should do a cooking video as the next IRL video. Huh. It's an interesting idea. Rotor lock is off. Rotor limit. Lower what? Why is there a lower limit? That always have a lower limit on it and I just missed it. That's really annoying. Come on. I might have always had that. Eisen, I'm going to build this whole thing myself. No, I'm not going to be taking submissions. I want this to be a celebration of things that I've done in Space Engineers, or kind of a thing that I gift to everyone and something that I gradually build on stream over here on Twitch. I'm going to need to set all of those rotors to be a bit more free spinning because I think they've got a bit too much resistance on them. Oh no, they don't have any braking torque. Why aren't they spinning freely? Why aren't you spinning freely like you're supposed to do? Well, they should have enough weight. They're like, and they have worked properly in the past to spin down. But they appear to be kind of assuming gravity is in a different orientation to what it actually is. Hang on a second. I'm going to try something. I'm going to turn off adaptive sim speed. Or adaptive simulation quality. And see whether that makes any difference. The blocks are all off, but none of them have any braking torque, so they should just be free spinning. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Jackson. That's why I'm thinking it's adaptive simulation quality. Because it seemed like some of them were getting gravity and some of them weren't. An override gyro wouldn't be helpful, Skullbearer, because I kind of want them to jostle around a little bit. No, adaptive sim quality didn't fix it. Let's try... Let's see if adding any mass actually does make any difference. Mass blocks, let's use them. It's not rocking, it's just kind of... Even that's not making it spin the correct way. That's annoying. Why isn't this working? So this was one of the first builds that made me think, I want to build an amusement park. And then I started working on a design for a roller coaster a while back. And so I thought this should be the first thing I put in, because this is obviously a fairly convincing amusement park build. Falling Llama, the rotors are all off, therefore the regular torque is irrelevant, unfortunately, so that's not going to change anything. I might play around with the rotor offsets though. Because it does seem like a tighter gap than I would usually do these days, and maybe I could get away with it back then, but I can't now. This might not be something it can... It might have been like one of those things that's changed, unfortunately. Battery. And so let's just fiddle with a couple of things and see if it makes any difference. 0.0088. Now they're all jammed. Yep, that doesn't sound great. So I think they do need to be at minimal displacement. Oh, look at that. They all spun for a little bit. And then they stopped. Alright, I think I do know what needs to be done here. Let's turn braking torque way up. Let's toggle it off. I think I'm going to have to take off the outer bit of this. Oh no, all the rotors are attached to that, aren't they? No! Okay. So what I think I'm going to need to do is create an extra gap here. Because I reckon this is probably rubbing, even though it didn't way back then, or it's rubbing on this rotor. So that's why it's not free spinning anymore. Hey Tex, enjoy your dinner, mate. Hopefully catch up soon or something. Alright. I don't want to rebuild too much of this because then I have to redo all those lights. Let's go to space and let's see if we can get this working. Attached to an asteroid. That's going to be the best plan. So if I attach to an asteroid and it all works, then it'll work down on the planet. If I can dismantle it properly. Oy. I can't detach the rotor heads, Eisen, because I pasted them on the wrong side. That was interesting. Good job. That was something. Let's try that again now that I'm actually here in my suit. Oh, it really doesn't like being pasted into asteroids. No, not that one. That one. Oh, that's gold. Oh, man. That's brilliant. Alright, let's just paste it in space. And now, which way around if I got those rotors? Yeah, I'm going to have to flip that. So if I get rid of you, and then I cut that. In fact, I don't really need that at all up here. I can just use the one that's down on the planet. Then what I need to do is chop out any of the links between the outer ring and the inner ring, which is annoying in the center here. Okay. That's the best way to do this. I'm going to need to copy this again. Oh! Climb had some sort of chopping grids in half mod that I can't remember the name of. I think it was Climb anyway. That would be quite useful right now. If I get rid of... break it there. Hopefully I can then just break it in the same, break it one block over on the other one and then sandwich the two pieces together. Though, no, I'm not going to be able to do that. I have to go right out here. Dang it. No, it's not the advanced welding mod, it's a different one again. He had some slicing tool that he made that allows you to slice any grid in half from anywhere. And it would be really quite handy because it would slice it apart and then allow me to work with the separate pieces. I think what I'm going to be best off doing is just getting rid of these right on here. Then replacing those blocks. And then figuring out what I'm going to do with the centerpiece to make it work. Giving this a bit of extra space. Hopefully this works. It does seem like the most likely culprit for why this isn't spinning the way it used to. Separate pieces now. Yes, they are. Climb split plane. Yeah, here it is. This one. Allows for grids to be split along any plane. Yeah. So it's the one that Eisen just dropped in chat. They've got some... yeah, so you can kind of even do it on weird angles and things. I'll have to try that if my current approach doesn't work. So I need to have somewhere to paste this onto once I've got that ready. So that bit's perfectly set up. And then I just need to extend this one another block out beyond where it was before. So it's 1, 2, back on there. Let's clear that up because I need that and I want that. And I'll add other stuff as I go, but I usually have those. And I can't remember what else I normally put on my hotbar for the creative mode builds. I have a basic pattern that I stick to. So if I add 2 blocks in here, I might copy paste both of these and then see if that works before I go in and fix the center piece. Because the center bit, I'll need to add a block in between there and there to make it look nice. No, Flexorish, this is for my 100... This will be... I intend it to be, at least, my 100,000 subscriber special video thing. So it'll be something that I'll be able to... that I'll be sharing with everybody. Once I get to that point, which is getting surprisingly close on the YouTubes. Put a battery on there. I need them quite often. Oops. So that should be right, yeah. I should just be able to paste the other one straight on that. Try and create as many copies of things as possible just in case I stuff something up. That's correct. Yeah, that looks right. That gives a bit more room here, so I then should be able to put all these rotors out to their maximum displacement, increasing the chance that they'll spin properly. Yes. Alright, time to check this down on the planet. Nice on checksum. Good one. Alright. Copy. Oh wait, I need to do that from a specific spot so I can paste it properly. Copy. This one. Control delete. Yes. Add my rotor head back on. And attempt to paste. Oh, I hope this works. It's gonna be so annoying if it doesn't work. Yeah. What is it? Oh. Okay, that sort of works like that. Fine. Let's displace all those rotors as far as they can go. Aha! Now they swing! Look at that! Yes! That's what I wanted. Huzzah! They're actually kind of centered between those two bits now, which they weren't before. Yay! Alright, let's fix this middle bit up, since I've made it all ugly. To there. I did not remember making this quite so complicated when I built it. So I will show you guys riding on this in a second. I just want to get this middle bit done and then I'll show off what it's like to go around a full revolution on this Ferris wheel. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that it all works too, with very minimal trouble. Yeah, Jackson, it's one of those things you go, oh, why did I make all of this greeble so hard to copy? It seemed so intricate and pretty at the time, and now it's just a hassle. Oops. Alright, now I just got to put those crosses in, and we are good. Yes, Eisen, not so complicated. Your name's Splitsy. I know I'm known for complicated. I wouldn't want it any other way. I like building complex stuff, but I don't like rebuilding complex stuff. If it's new and it's the first time, it's still exciting. If it's been done, whoops, before, it's just awful. Frustrating. Yeah, I think I should be able to make a carousel. I just need to select the right scale to make it work. It won't be the sort of scale that Capac's reindeer would fit on. I'm thinking more just a simple seat and then a couple of blocks and see how well I can do the pixel art to make something that looks okay-ish. May even try and recruit Capac to come in and see what he can do in terms of designing a horse at that scale, which may not really be that feasible, but I think I'd just like to keep things at that sort of size. So the sort of size that this Ferris wheel makes sense in. And we are done. Excellent. Alright, let's start this thing spinning. We are spinning back to front. Alright, let's go the other way. Oh, actually, no, you do want to be forward as you come to the top. And then... really don't know. What do you guys reckon? Should it be going this way at the bottom, or should it be going forward at the bottom? Splitsy's idle noise is greeble greeble. So I'm thinking one of the first builds I want to try and do is the pirate ship. Backwards at the bottom. Okay. So the way it is. Oh, here we go. This is where this build really shines. Literally. That's the other thing. On all these builds, I'm going to need to do the flashing lights, set up all that sort of stuff so that the whole fun park is this big celebration in light. I think I did this one in white on purpose so that the purple of the lights, as you can see, the light starts white in the middle and goes purple towards the outside. And then is bluish purple on the ones that spin around. So if we look at it from this angle... Oh no, those are just flashing on and off. Oh, I thought they were supposed to be in sequence. Maybe they were at some point, but they're not anymore. There we go. Let's get some light back on the situation. And... I think instead of me doing like the... Oh, that gets very close. I was going to do the how you get on board bit. Oh no, that works perfectly. I might instead start working on the pirate ship. It's a pity these trees are so tall. I'm going to have to knock some down. Because it doesn't get much above the height of the trees. Okay, pirate ship. Now, I'm not really sure how best to do this. First of all, glad we have the wood armor texture, because that's going to be needed. Where do I want the pirate ship, though? Walk in here, maybe I could put the pirate ship over here. Let's give us a bit of a brownish colour. Well, that's very yellow. There we go, that's about right. That'll do. If Capac were online, I would ask him to borrow his thing from the end of Wrong Way Down. But I think I'll just make something from scratch, and if I need to, and if I struggle with it, then I'll use his. But I want to get the mechanism working. So this one's going to be a bit more of a complicated mechanism because you need it to go up and down and then gradually go up and then sometimes spin around, and without getting into scripting, I'm not really sure how to do that. Probably should have thought about that before I decided to do that build first. Maybe one block higher will be needed. And this colour's slightly wrong, but I'll fiddle with that later. And that'll be a good enough support. Then we have that. Then we go on the same on the other side, which is easiest by getting rid of that. Copy, block, paste. That's what I want on the first hotbar. I need rotors because I'm going to be using all of the rotors. And get rid of the big head and a small one. Oh, that's a good idea, Grimwolf. Using timer blocks with jets, and the timer blocks can just intermittently turn them on. And if I have the weight offset enough, the thrusters might push it around. Let's test. I think that's going to be the best way to do this. I'll pop a big battery down here. Then I'll just do a nice simple line down here. Or a pendulum. Because I think with this unevenly balanced across that rotor, the thrusters may work. Is it that bad if I take a little bit of creative license and I make the things spin if they don't really? I think that's fine. Okay, so we need toggle off, thrust override to max, thrust override to max, and you toggle off. Alright, let's see what happens. Oh yeah, this works. This very much works. Yes. Perfect. Ah, awesome, Grimwolf. This is perfect. This will work exactly as I need to. I just need to figure out how long to put it on so that it doesn't make it instantly flip off. I didn't think it'd be nice to you guys for me to do the first-person view just yet. Even though I will very much do that as part of the tour. Sweet. I love that this works. Apologies for anyone for whom, to anyone for that made motion sick. Time to build a pirate ship with thrusters on it. Oh yeah. Actually, I wonder if I've got that. Oh, I think I took my wrong way down saves out of my saves folder because my saves folder was getting really big and my game crashed, or is it just not happy with me? It's just not happy with me. Oh, I was going to load up Capac's pirate ship, but I don't think I've got it. Because it would have been nice to use his as a bit of a model to work off. Oh, that's what I would need to do. I need a visual reference. Which one? There we go. That looks like a decent visual reference, except the picture's tiny. Give me a bigger picture. A high resolution picture. Oh. Okay, so they mostly do the two scaffoldings down, one to the front and one to the back of the ship. Possibly, Codon. If I have thrusters at both ends, could I use a timer to alternate them off and on so that they stop? I was hoping to just use the mass of it so that it'll be heavy enough to work. So I'll build the scaffolds that go down out of light armor, and then the rest of it I'll build out of heavy so that it's got a lot of mass away from the pivot point. Yeah, Beans, I agree. Having that thing heavy armor will help. I can also use mass blocks here, just for the fact that those blocks are really, really heavy. I hate doing these things. mean, 2x1s, but I think I want 2x1s. Yeah, I do. I'll do a few of these and then I'll just chop it off and then I'll copy paste it. So, I feel like this whole end needs to be covered. Then we can go from here. Do one more block section and then I can chop it out and then paste it on. Yeah, I got closer than I thought I would with the wood color. I drop that off there, replace it, and I should be able to copy paste at least this much. Gonna stick it onto itself. Yes! Better. This is why I'm not doing this in survival. Can you imagine trying to make this sort of contraption without being able to copy paste and fix up the things that go wrong? I mean, I've probably got the patience for it, but I really don't think it's a good use of time. Mirror mode doesn't work for pasting. So I'd have to do one row the whole way down, and I think it's quicker for me to paste these bits in than it would be for me to go down the whole one side. But I should maybe turn on mirror mode anyway once I've done this. That's probably as far as I want to go. Yeah, I agree, Eisen, but having, sorry, Jackson, but having to place down all of these blocks manually down one side would take longer than pasting these chunks of sections down both sides. No, Mythos, not doing this on Omicron. I was actually thinking of doing this on a low grav world so I could play with grav gens for some of the rides, but then decided that I'd make a amusement park on the moon as well as Earth, if I want to do that. I think scenery wise it's much nicer being on the Earth-like planet for this sort of thing. Oops. What the? That's the one I wanted. And one more. We're good. Nope, one more after that. Then I need to make this wide enough that I can fit 2 seats side by side, because I need to have the ability for people to sit side by side on this. What I might just quickly do is copy that, paste it over there. Then these will probably attach just inside the maximum bounds of the ship, so there'll be a row of armor going on each side. And then the seats are 3 blocks wide. So does that mean I'd have to go 6 in the middle? Or could I get away with 4? Probably want to go 6. That's not too wide. That'll be okay. Fuel. Bridge the killer will a wheel set up underneath it not work? It would work. But it's not the most reliable method of pushing things in Space Engineers. My experience with making contraptions like this work using wheels is often that the wheels look like they're about to explode all of the time. Which is obviously not optimal. Wheels don't seem to like to push against subgrids. Okay. Let's bring the sun around to this side. Oh, drat. Doesn't really ever get around this side. Now to design a ship. Or to wake up Capac and see if he'll do it for me. Also to realise that for some reason... Oh, I didn't make the legs, the arms completely even in length. Right. That makes sense. Sure how to approach making a pirate ship. I think I might just block out something that looks about right and then adjust it from there. Is this when people tell me to play more Atlas so that I can make pirate ships? Capac's only given me permission to wake him up if he's forgotten that we're streaming with someone else. And he's slept in. So I wouldn't do that to him intentionally. You people telling me not to poke the bear. What do you think I spent the last 20 years of my life being friends with Capac doing? That should probably work. Yeah, probably doing my best to do that, Grimwolf, avoiding getting blown up. Might need one more drop. That might be okay. That also could be okay. Let's turn mirror mode on because I forgot to. No. That. That should work. I just saw what Falling Llama said. Start with a keel? This shouldn't have a keel. Oh, unless you're meaning just the very... I suppose I was thinking of it in terms of modern sailing ships. And they're very long keels. yes, if you're just talking the middle row. Just got to keep in mind how much ground clearance I've got as well. I probably could have gotten away with doing this symmetrically left to right as well, couldn't I? Yep, Captain Compton, that is what I am doing. I am making an amusement park. Because I thought it'd be fun. Yeah. This is going to be a challenge to get looking right, I think. Probably going to need... I mean, I'm just currently doing it in regular blocks, and then I'll do some more shaping on it once I've got those down. But I like for things like, for builds like this, to just shape it out first. Because if it looks roughly okay in blocky form like this, then it should look pretty good once it's done. In rounded, smoothed. How's that looking? Yeah, that shape's kind of okay. Should have enough space inside its deck as well to put all the timer blocks I need, so I don't need to do them on large grid. Oh, this stuff is going to be so motion sickness inducing. It's going to be amazing. And I say that because I'm someone who doesn't get motion sick with games. I do when reading a book in the car, but that's about it. A mechanical bull? Do you mean sticking a piston on a landing? Do you mean sticking all of the pistons together that you possibly can and then trying to ride the end? Going to log back in on this in the future and all the baskets on the Ferris will be 90 degrees. I haven't experienced that with the Ferris wheel yet. So hopefully I don't experience that sort of clang on it, because that would be sad. Because I really want this to work and for me to be able to make progress on this build. So the idea is to gradually build this over the coming, I'm guessing, couple of months before I reach 100,000 on YouTube. And then when I do, I will hopefully have it pretty well finished and ready to go for release. And making a video in it. Yeah, sure, Ryzen, send it. I have all the notifications off. Always. I call this the front. I can possibly... Whoops. How does this work? Does this look alright? What have I been sent? Eisen just sent me a link to a video saying how to build a Viking ship in Minecraft. I've built a pretty cool looking pirate ship. Well, I thought it was pretty cool looking pirate ship in Minecraft before, so you'd think I'd know what I was doing. Admittedly, I built that in survival mode, so it was quite a slow build, so I had time to think about everything. Yeah. That's not what I wanted. Alright, that's a rough shape. That'll do for now. What I'm thinking I'll do is make this work mechanically and then style it up. No, Dragnon, I'm not going to try and do a figurehead. Oh, rotor a dead engineer onto the front for a figurehead. What? Would any of the dead engineers even work? They are all large grid, right? That's why you have to rotor it on. I don't think any of these would work. If I was going to do that, I would do a Capac. But yeah, these don't really look like they'll do the trick. But I'm more leaning toward this being a, at least predominantly vanilla build. That's heavy armor. Let's start putting some heavy armor down in here. Ooh. Ah, for the wood, I can do accents in the heavy armor. That'll look great. So, like, the edges. Okay, maybe it would have looked great if the patterns worked out. Could look interesting anyway. Alright, so this is nice and heavy now. I'm going to put a couple of chairs on here just so that I can get an idea of how many it looks like can be on here. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Then, at the back, we need our thrusters. I really want to put the big ones on. But I think it might need to be done with smalls. Actually, I should test to see if smalls even work. If they've even got enough thrust. Yeah, Tatio, I'm thinking leaning into a bit of a steampunk aesthetic. Let's just turn. Oh, this is going to add heaps of weight too. Batteries on here. Okay, I don't quite have enough room for the batteries. Gotcha. I'll have to do this a bit differently to what I'd intended. Oh wait, hang on. Nope. That's directly exposed. No, I didn't leave enough room for the big batteries, but this is creative mode, so I can use the teensy ones. That'll be fine. Just place a huge number of them down there. dokie. I'm going to turn this off. The thrusters are trying. Oh! So if they turn off at the right time, this could get quite a good swing going. Timer block. Where are my timer? We need the thrusters in a... Oh, no we don't. Oh wait, I need to be in that anyway. So, timer block. Set up actions. Toggle you on, toggle you on, and then start. Timer block 2. Toggle off, timer block start. Yeah, I think this is partially going to need to be automatically controlled, like you're suggesting, Barnaby. Having an antenna or having some sort of... I was even thinking a little control station at the bottom with buttons for thrusters on, thrusters off. Thrusters on, thrusters off, and being able to do it that way. But I want to see how it works with just a timer block set with a bit of a, let's say, 5 seconds each way. And see if it gets into some sort of rhythm with that. Trigger now. Oh yeah. This works. Woohoo! Oh! Oh man. This is working a lot better than I thought it was going to. Yes! Okay, we do not need large thrusters. Gotcha. Oh man. Okay, I'm hopping out before people get sick. I'm stuck. I'm stuck! Okay, my timer blocks worked too well. Oh, this is brilliant. I'm loving this. I'm so glad I decided to do this. This is a lot of fun to mess around with. Let's turn you on. Off. On. Off. On. There we go. Oh man. Rotor limits would probably help, but there's a simpler way to stop it spinning around quite so much. All I need to do is just turn up some braking torque. So I don't need to necessarily make it heavier, I could just put some braking torque on, but I prefer to make this heavier because I think the motion feels more natural if it's using gravity rather than friction to slow it down. So as I convert this, I think I'll convert the whole thing to heavy armor because it does look quite nice. I might do the deck in light armor instead of how I've done it at the moment. Oh yeah, I guess Grimorp, you could make consider braking torque equivalent to air resistance. Yeah, Spycotic. I don't think we need the harmonic motion calculations. I think we're pretty good with just a rough guess at how long it took. Oh, this is so cool. I can't believe this worked so quickly and easily. I was not expecting it to work this well. Alright, I need to create a hotbar with all of the heavies. Heavy, heavy, heavy. I now need to skin this thing. And then once I've done all the decoratives on this, I think that's when we should try and figure out how to set the thrust override so that it doesn't immediately set it to go all the way around, or at least as quickly as I did just then. So, smoothing this thing. I want an entryway which should be around this back side of the thing. So I need a walkway. And that's too light in heavy armor. I need to make this darker. Yeah. That's better. Yeah, that matches the color on the wood part of it. Don't forget the shields. That's a good point. It does need to look like a Viking longboat, so it needs to have shields on it. It's a good point, Eisen. Wonder what's going to look best here. Do I try and curve it down like this? Oh. What I should be doing is turning mirror mode back on. I can do this. So this is going to get a lot heavier once I skin this. I think my biggest failing when I try and do... I need to turn off mirror for a second. When I try and do pixel art style builds is that I try and go for too much accuracy. Capac's much better at going, yeah, that'll be close enough, good enough. Yeah, I could. Oh yeah, you could use sensors to turn it on. If you had these braces uneven so that they could do that. Because then you could just detect the grid's position. But you need something that stands out into a particular sense of range for that to work. Or I guess you could have the sensor on this post and detecting anything on this side of the rotor. So anytime it's on this side of the rotor, the thrusters turn on or off, and anytime it's back on this side, they turn on. So it kind of breaks it as it comes up here and then pushes again and then breaks it. That would also work. I think we need to have half slabs under here for the keel shape. And I've still got mirror off. Dang it. Needed to just off for a little bit. Why did I forget to turn it back on? We're not playing medieval engineers, we're playing Viking engineers. Or, What is it? Carney engineers. It's more Carney engineers than anything else. I'm going to have to name the series Carney Engineers, I think. Yeah, Jersey Mike, you definitely could use a programmable block to do this sort of control setup where it picks an angle and then does it from there, but for me to learn how to script that would take longer than I am ever likely to be patient enough to learn. And I don't think it's needed. I think keeping this simple with just some timer blocks or sensors is probably best anyway. Yeah, that's kind of looking okay. GravGens won't work here because we're on a planet with higher than 0.5 Gs of gravity. So, can't use GravGens here. So we have to make do with rotors and thrusters and things. Our shields. Just do them in red for now. And I'll probably do them in light armor. GravGens are made completely useless the moment you have more than 0.5 Gs of natural gravity. They will only... I can't remember what the equation actually works out to be, but they will only work up to 0.5 Gs. After that, they do absolutely nothing. No matter how many you have, they will not work. I think sound block's better for the shield. Guess we put another one there. There, and that'll be very unevenly spaced. Right. Let's get rid of those for a second. Decide how I want to space that. If I look at the other ones that I can see on my image search, the ones that have shields seem to have quite a lot of them, but also they seem to use gates at each entryway, which I'm not going to do. Maybe one. So if they're going to be 2 blocks apart, it needs to be... We'll go 4. Oh, dang it. Okay. I'll do this then. So they're even. But slightly front heavy, or should I make them rear heavy? I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to do this, and I'm gonna have to figure out where I'm gonna put the... Actually, I will just leave that one. Dang it! I forgot to put my thing off. Oh, which reminds me I need to do these anyway with mirror mode so that we've got some heavy armor to hold those blocks on. Now I can do them again. Cool. I think I'm happy with this. So I'll be 4 blocks, then another 4, then another 4, then another 4. I'll make it around those. And what color do you guys reckon I should do these in? I'm just doing them in red for now so that I can get a good look at what they'll... and where I put them. But I don't think I need them quite so garish. I think I could probably get away with something a little less bright. Ah, cobalt blue, you say? I do have a thing for cobalt blue. I didn't want to do the shields in heavy blocks because of the pattern on them. I wanted the shields to be different in terms of their patterning to the rest of the thing. Oh, I also need to think about where I'm going to put lights on this. And what I should do with the lights on this. Oh. Cobalt blue and hot pink, so Jackson will ride it all day. Yeah, that'd work. Let's try some things. That's not quite dark enough. So that's the blue option. Alright, Jackson. I'll see what that works out to be. 220. Whoops, that's not 220. That was 2,000. 220. 50. 15. Now that's pretty much where I was. I wasn't terribly different. Although with the wood grain texture, I think I just made it a bit more vibrant. Crab juice themed colours, purple and yellow. Most of the ones I can see on the interwebs are reddish. I'm going to try and go for a bit more of a... not the crazy vibrant red that I did. Something a bit more reasonable. Something like that. It might be too close to the rest of the ship to be interesting. Needs a bit more saturation, I think. That is not quite. Or is that enough? Once I put this in the middle. Probably should have thought this part through before I started. Alright, RG Sneaker, let's see what you've got. Ah. Yellow and orange, you say? I think that works because of the... or at least on the sails, that's what's on that. What would yellow bit look like? That's vibrant. What does this look like? I did not think picking the shields was going to be the difficult part. Maybe something like that. Kind of works. Yeah, you can play a war song through the shields. I think I might stick with this yellow. I think it works reasonably well, and I can then use that same yellow on the supports, which I'm going to put a little bit more detail into soon. Yeah, you definitely could do mixed match shields. I think if I ever do manage to get Capac into this, save at some point to help me out with designing something, I will let him have a go at repainting a lot of the builds and see what he would like to do for them, and see if I prefer the end result. Because it may well be that he comes up with something that I'm like, wow, that's actually so much better than anything I'd come up with. Because when it comes to this stuff, sometimes he does. Intentionally ended that way, but this bit at the back, I think I need to change up how I've done it. I want to make it look a bit more like there's a railing there. So I'll get rid of that row. And then maybe that might look alright. I should be able to do this sort of thing to create a bit of a thing that looks like a railing around the top. And am I attached to this in another way? Yes, I can get rid of those blocks. I'm up like this, the first thing you'd hear out of Capac would be ow. Yeah, you're probably right. Is that too big? Should I make that one block shorter? I think I probably should. Yeah, that looks better, I think. I think these look better with the double. I'm digging how well this has ended up, considering I had zero plan when I started today. I knew I wanted to make the pirate ship, but that was it. I did not expect this to actually look half decent when I was done. I need to go to that. Then how on earth I'm going to do this decorative bit at the back, I do not know yet. That's going to be a whole lot of faffing, I think. Trying to make this look half decent. I love the thrusters turning on and off while I'm doing this, just continuing to go about their thing. The problem isn't, I can't just bury one large thruster. This has even numbers of blocks across, so if I'm going to do it, it needs to be 2 of them. Which is unfortunate. I didn't really think that part through when I designed it. And I'd probably, if I was going to go large thrusters, want them to be placed on this block here. But, given the design of the ship, I could actually have these on the outside, which... Ooh, now that I think about it. That'll be a nice cheeky way of not having to do this design at the back here. Get rid of these. If I stick the large thrusters in there, they'll actually occupy most of the space where I would have had to do that curve. So something like there. Raised? I think if I raise them any more, they'll be two in the floor up the back here, so I don't want to do that. Then I can just figure out how strong their override needs to be once I get the whole thing set up. Yeah. I'm happy with this. Though, maybe I bring them... I suppose I could bring them forward a bit there. So you've still got the keel visible. That block. That block. Then I'll bring it out another block. I think that feels a bit better. Hydro engine, you reckon, Eisen? You didn't want to do the damaged hydrogen thruster for the flame effects? Although, who'd be dumb enough to put a fire on the deck of a wooden ship? Right. Start with this bit. How I'm going to curve downward. See if I can get this shape looking alright, and then I'll fill in the gaps. Does that look alright? It kind of does. I was thinking I'd put in some 45-degree slopes somewhere in that, but maybe I'll do this. See if this looks better. Yeah, that does look a bit better. It does need red flame. It does need flames before it's over. A figurehead with a smoking hydro thruster in its mouth would look pretty cool. It would. I don't think we're going to have enough blocks to play with to achieve that sort of detail. So much as that would look cool, I don't think it's going to be an option. Now, how am I best to do this bit? I think it might be a case of doing this sort of thing. And just not trying to curve the outer bit and just stepping it up as I go. Like this. that's onto the thruster, so should be able to have fairly simple shape, and then I just got to figure out what to do with these blocks here. Oh wait, that doesn't go like that. That should be a full block. That should still attach to the fronts. Whoops. Didn't mean to get rid of the thrusters. No, I deliberately... So, the guys in chat are talking about survival unlikely, thumbs, the cockroach, all that sort of stuff. It was quite deliberate that I've left that all a mystery. To be perfectly blunt about why the stuff with the cockroach happened, the cockroach was too powerful to keep playing survival unlikely if we had access to it. The game would have gotten boring very quickly because it was overpowered. It was a vanilla ship, or basically vanilla ship, that was capable of taking on stuff that was really quite strong. And because it was so powerful, we would have had no reason to keep playing and keep searching for stuff, because we had a ship that could traverse gravitational fields, could fly happily in space, could shoot stuff really easily because it had so many guns, and as soon as we'd gotten shields on it, there would have been game over. So I had to get rid of it somehow, and I thought that was the most fun way to do so. So I got rid of it. So there was never any intention of us getting it back at all. The cockroach never took on an exiled engineer, but as soon as it had a shield, it would have had no troubles doing... It probably would have had no troubles doing so because of the number of guns. Something would have accidentally hit the block that you need to hit on the exiled engineer to win that. So yeah, it just... For the series to continue, I had to do something, and that's what I chose to do. I thought it was a better option than not continuing the series. Grozob, I recruited someone who I could trust who did all that stuff for me. Who very kindly did that. But yeah, I deliberately didn't say any of this stuff any sooner than now because I didn't want to take away the fun that was whether there was a question about it, but now we're so much further through Survival Unlikely, I figure it's fine for me to tell people why it's gone and why it's not coming back. And let's put the timer blocks in down here now, get rid of those two. Replace the deck with this colour. Oh, crud. I just do. Oh no, that's alright. Didn't end up painting the shield by accident. Yeah, Mysteria, I have said it in the comment section when people have asked me about the cockroach. But plenty of people don't read those, even though I do respond to them and give little tidbits in there. liking how this has come together. I'm not looking forward to doing the front of it, because I have no idea how I'm going to make that look interesting. Especially now that I've cheated with the rear end. No, wait, need to turn it off. Mirror. Pop that in. Pop the other one in. And then remember to turn on mirror. There we go. True Fame, I've got some ideas of where Capac and I are going to go with Space Engineers and co-op and all that sort of stuff. So don't worry, there is, as I always say, plenty more to come. And I really mean it. I've got lots of stuff I still want to do with the two of us in Space Engineers. So I'm going to be dragging Capac along to play Space Engineers for a long time yet. I'm also going to drag him into some other games, hopefully soon. Sweet. It's going to be an interesting design thing to try and figure out ways to make it so people can walk up to all of these builds. Yeah, Dragged on Capac has dragged me into a few games. He doesn't cope with me not being good as well as I cope with him not being good. So he gets really frustrated when I suck at something. Probably more than I do. So if we're playing a game that he's good at and I'm bad at, he often gets bored because he doesn't want to teach me. I'm quite happy to try and teach Capac stuff, but he really doesn't enjoy that the same way. So that's part of it, why you haven't seen too many Capac games that we've played. Although, I will say, one thing he really does still enjoy, even though he's much, much better at it than me, is Mario Kart. And Smash Brothers. Because he smashes me in those. Yes, I think Halo is an example of something. And I think the couple of hours a week we've played that over the past couple of weeks is probably all Capac could handle of dealing with Splitsy not good. That's too close. I need to go that further out. Is it Splitsy not good or is it Splitsy getting lost? You guys have seen me... So those of you who watched the Frostbite stuff, you saw how quickly Capac got frustrated with me getting lost. And yes, it's partially that. But I suppose me getting lost is sort of a bit of a me not being good as well. Yeah, you do need Capac doing a Titanic pose on the front of the ship. I am going to stick with being modless on this for as long as I can. Or at least, I'm using some mods for convenience of building, like Build Vision, Build Info, Digi's Painting mod, my screen gunk be gone, all that sort of stuff. But I kind of like the idea that if I can do this in vanilla, I could actually make it usable for people on Xbox as well. But if it turns out that there's something that I really want to do that is able to be done only with mods, I will probably renege on that idea and do it all modded anyway. But we'll see. I'm going to try not to. I think Capac's got one somewhere for what went into his PC Begotten, but I don't know. That's Capac's responsibility, and I'm not... although sometimes it looks like I want to be his babysitter, I try not to be some as well. Not many good ways to do what I'm doing here. These shapes are the shapes that Space Engineers does not have. Legio, Capac and I have talked about medieval engineers in the past. For a couple of reasons, no, we probably won't ever do a medieval engineers series. One of the big reasons is that it's it's not being developed anymore. With Keen giving up on medieval engineers, I don't see much point in playing it with Capac. But the other reason we never did was that it's a really slow game. There's not any of the modded NPC content that Space Engineers has. There's no exploration stuff to keep Capac interested. The only way that I thought Medieval Engineers could make a really good series is if you had a group of people who all played it, who all were happy with losing everything they built, and who did a rival village sort of setup. But finding a group of people like that is nigh on impossible. Just trying to find that many people who are willing to lose everything they build, it's just not going to happen. And who aren't obnoxious. So it as a series for me, the way I like to make video content, it just was never going to work, unfortunately. Because I did like the idea of it. I loved building stuff in it. Oh yeah, Dragnaut, scrap mechanic's a different one. I went and played some single player scrap mechanic the day before yesterday. I think it was the day after I did that stream. And I kind of liked what I built in it. I decided to do a better version of the car that Capac and I had. And I wanted to see if I could make something that I really liked the style of. And I kind of got into it a little bit. So if I can find a reason to build fun, good-looking stuff in scrap mechanic, I might well play a little bit more of it and drag Capac along for that. Because it definitely had some of that it got a little bit of that feel going for me. But we'll have to see. I don't know if it'll last. Because as I discussed on the stream, it is lacking some of that thing, that drive to build something cool that Space Engineers has. Oh yeah, Mutant Bob, you're so right. Hold E for 10 seconds is not a compelling gameplay mechanic. But it's the first release of its survival mode, so I'm going to forgive them that stuff for now. It's like Space Engineers didn't have a lot of great survival mechanics for a long time, and then we started modding them in, and then they sensibly incorporated the best modded parts. How am I going to do this? I want that sort of shape somewhere on here. Yeah, that kind of rounds that a little bit. Yeah, not sure if there's much more in line with story for that planet though. Yeah, agreed. There's certainly a lot more needed to make Scrap Mechanic long-term playable, but for me it really would just come down to if I found some fun, or something that I found fun as a reason to build crazy contraptions like I do in Space Engineers, like right now. What, other than me thinking, oh, this will be a fun thing to build, why am I building a Viking ship, pirate ship ride? It's insanity. But I'm doing it because it's fun to build it in Space Engineers, and I got a little bit of that feel from Scrap Mechanic the other day when I was playing it single player. Which was nice, because I haven't had that feel from a game other than Space Engineers in a very, very, very long time. Ark drives me a little nuts. I haven't... Well, Atlas does, and they're basically the same game. To me, anyway. So I probably won't be playing Ark anytime soon unless Capac decides he wants to play it, in which case I'll happily join him. Because he was the one who bought it first. Yeah, the grindy bit about Ark is what makes me go, I don't really want to do that. I think this is coming together. I don't think the weird shapes that I've done around here really matter when you're looking at it from a distance. Ah, multiplayer RimWorld. That is something we definitely do want to get back to because the mod has been updated to the 1.1 version. We haven't tried it to see whether it's working well yet, but we do plan to. Capac and I both want to get back to some more multiplayer RimWorld because it is fun. Alright. I think I might work on the figurehead now, or the something. Yeah, Murdoch, we tried Satisfactory. Satisfactory, not my kind of game. Nor is Factorio. Although Factorio is more my kind of game than Satisfactory is. Because Factorio, you got the aliens to come and fight you. Although you're really the alien because you're the invader. That'll do for a front, really. Don't think it needs to be anything too complicated. Yeah, Satisfactory just doesn't do it for me. I had fun exploring with Capac when we first started playing, and I got quite tired of the rest of the gameplay loop pretty quickly after that. There's something with Satisfactory and Factorio that someone like me, I just can't get past. And that is that when you're playing those games, they give you just enough information to know a way to do something. But you know that a little bit further into the game, you're going to get some different technology that's going to make it easier to do what you just did in this horrible way. And that's going to mean that you have to redo the whole thing again. And then that's going to happen repeatedly throughout the gameplay cycle. That's their big gameplay loop for those games, is that you gradually get given little bits of technology and information that mean you have to rework all of your systems. So unless you've played the game the whole way through, you don't know how to set stuff up at the start so that you don't have to do those same rebuilds. And I'm not patient enough for that. Yeah, Murdoch, you build huge complex factories over and over and over and have to keep rebuilding it and doing the same factory again and again because each time you've learnt something new and you have to change it all up again. I just personally don't enjoy that gameplay loop. It's not for me. It's for so many people love those games. But yeah, it's just not for me. That's why I haven't played those games much. Yeah, and yeah, Sudatsuga, that's exactly right. Lots of people love that style of gameplay where you get to keep improving what you're doing and you get to keep working on little bits and pieces and making it better and better. And when I do that in Space Engineers, I love doing it. Also, thanks, Sergeant Seuss. Sois? Is it Sois or Seuss? I don't know. Anyway, thank you. It's weird. In Space Engineers, in 7 Days to Die, I will happily spend ages fiddling with stuff, making it look right, making it feel right. But something about Factorio, well, actually more Satisfactory than Factorio. Something about Satisfactory just doesn't grab me, unfortunately. But it's a personal thing. I don't think it's a bad game by any stretch. It's just not the game for me. Well, I think this pirate ship just needs some detail on these supports. Which I have no idea how I would do in a way that would look what I was imagining. I think I'm just going to have to put cross braces. I don't think I can do anything else. Yeah, Spizda, I ruined Subnautica for myself. I'm so upset that I did that too. I played Subnautica when it had most of the story mode, but not all of it. And I finished what content they had, which left me with this situation of I have to go back and do a whole lot of stuff again if I want to go and experience the story mode properly. I just haven't found the inspiration to go back and play the same bits again and again from what I played previously. And I'm so disappointed because it is such an amazing game. I really enjoyed it. I just didn't enjoy it enough to dedicate the time to it. Because I really want to. It's just as a matter of finding the time to play these things. Alright. Yeah, my idea with Below Zero would be to hold off until it's finished and then give it a crack, because I made that mistake with the original. I don't want to feel like I'm replaying the same thing again. Yeah, maybe by the time Below Zero's finished, I'll have forgotten enough from the original that I could go back and I could play it with a fairly fresh outlook. So that could certainly be a thing I could do. I'd quite enjoy that. The other game I really want to find the time to play is The Long Dark. I'm terrible at it. I've died in the beginning of it so many times, but I feel like it'd be a lot of fun to play. Dragnot, I haven't tried Green Hell, and Compton, I will almost certainly play Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know if I would play it on stream or if I would just play it for my own enjoyment. I am someone who likes a good RPG. I've just never made content with them other than Baldur's Gate with Capac. So I don't know how I would do making content in it. So I don't know if I would actually play it on a stream or anything. Or on a video format. And as to Green Hell, Dragnon, every time I'd looked at it in the past, it had such terrible reviews that I didn't take a closer look. Cool. We have something Viking shippy. It needs some lights, though. Oh, that's what else it needs. That's where it can have the lights. Yeah. And I put a big pirate on there. Oh, there'll definitely be a teacup ride, Cenarian. Definitely. Yeah, Dragon, I probably could find some pirate-esque thing to play. Oh, I mean, it'll have to be modded to do all that, but I may well do that at some point. Or at least edit it in. What shall I call the pirate ride? Thanks, I'm glad I said your name right. Do I just write... Oh, should I write assert on this? I'm just gonna... Basically, in blocks, I'm going to write the name of the pirate ship and then put lights on all of the blocks that'll move along in a sequence. That's what I'm planning on doing here. Yeah, I suppose I could just do SPRT. That does make a lot of sense. And I could then make it big enough. So we need to make this in black with battered. So I'm not sure what scale to do this at. Oops. I may have to write these out a couple of times to adjust and get them positioned correctly. Yeah, transparent LCDs could be a good option, yeah. That's a good point. Though... I want to stick lights to them, so I don't know... I'll map this out now since I've started it this way, and then I'll have a fiddle with transparent LCDs and things. Well, I did not space this out correctly. So it'd need to start one block to the left and then continue this way. I could go glamour look on this. But what could I do with the transparent LCDs? Because I can't really stick anything on them, and I kind of want this to have lights on it. Yeah, I'm just gonna use blocks for this, because then I can also do things like the R where I've got the angled pieces. I'd only be able to put backlights on some of the LCDs though, so... And the lights won't shine the right way being stuck on the back. They'll look it'll look odd. But I am contemplating the idea of making this... Ooh, disco. Okay, what is going on? Why can I not see the blocks that I just placed? There we go, computer, catch up. What happens if I put lights on that? Let's turn to night. See what the glamour black looks like. Maybe not glamour black. Maybe let's try silver. Silver could work. What about actually glamour, not disco? How about glamour in red? Yeah, I was planning on covering the letters with the lights. Alright, I'm gonna do them in glamour red because it looks interesting even without the lights on there. So if I end up breaking the number of lights in the world, at least this part will be fine. Oops. Thanks, Ali Akbar. Maybe golden. Yeah, possibly. I'm thinking the red's not a bad option though, given that we all know Space Pirates is showing up as red things on our HUD. Be kind of, I feel like it's somewhat fitting. In fact, I may have to leave the lights off this one. And just pick certain builds to have the crazy lighting on. Now that I remember about the light limits and stuff that are in this game, that means I can't have crazy lighting everywhere. Because I would love to go the full-on amusement park style lighting with crazy bright lights and stuff everywhere. In the assert ride. The assert ride would probably be you just getting shot. It's like, look at this great experience you get to enjoy. Oh, well, that's over. The other thing, so the other thing I've got to try and work out is how I'm going to do fireworks. There must be fireworks at this. And I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. There we go. Yes. Rocket launchers on timers, but they shoot too high, Dragnot. I need the explosions to happen lower, and I really want to use warheads. Oh yeah, Tracer Fire Light Show, that could be quite fun. But yeah, I need to have some sort of way to launch warheads up repeatedly, which actually I might be able to do. Back when I last tried this was like 18 months, almost 2 years ago, I tried to do something like this, and I wasn't as good with timers and stuff. I could probably launch timers up with a warhead and a battery with the right timings. The reason I want to use warheads is because they give that big flash of light that lights up everything around. So that could work. Maybe I'll do that on a video, on like in one of these streams soon. Because I think that could be a lot of fun to fiddle around with the help of you guys to see the things that I'm missing. I love this ship now. This has worked out about as well as I could have hoped. And some little lights on the inside. Oh wait. Put mirror mode on and then put some lights on the inside. Probably do. Let's get some nice color on them. Corner lights. Oops, wrong way. For intensity. There we go. I'm happy with that. Put the mod for critical failure on jump ropes, blow them up. That would be an interesting show with all the parts landing on the ground. Okay, let's get this thing functional. Turn you off. Hop in one of these seats, and my apologies to anyone who gets motion sick. These streams are going to be a problem for you. I don't need all these small batteries visible in my thing. I'm just going to get in the way. Same with the artificial mass blocks, which can be toggled off so they don't use power. So I can turn them off. And I'll hide these as well. Right. So the large atmospheric thrusters, let's toggle them off. Actually, let's toggle them on and see where the thrust override needs to sit. To get a bit of a push. That seems like it could be okay. How does 125,000 equal 112.6 kilonewtons? What? That optimal? Oh, because I'm slightly above. Right, because I'm high enough in the atmosphere. It's only 125 kilonewtons at sea level. That makes sense. Alright, timer blocks. So I should only need 2 of these. So they delay to 5. I'll just set up the actions the same way I did before. Block on, toggle block on. And start. Then you toggle off, and start. Now, did I do timer block 3 by accident on this one? Nope. Trigger now. I appear to have stopped moving though. Oh no, here we go. Let's see how this works. Make sure I don't actually flip myself over. Oh, this feels better. Oh, nope. This feels much better. I want it to flip if you're manually controlling it. When it's automated, I'd like it to just be seesawing back and forth. But it seems like the timings are off now. Not working as well as before. Maybe I just need to up the thrust a little bit. Oops. Lock out all the seats from players controlling it. I don't know that you can do that, Eisen. I will have to test some of that sort of stuff. I'm going to try 6 seconds and see if that works better. Because it doesn't seem to be timing properly. Or well enough at the moment. I would like to be able to lock everyone out, because what I would like to do when this is ready to go is invite a bunch of people to join in on the server and like show a crowd moving through the different things. And have multiple people on all the rides and all that sort of stuff, because it'll be quite fun. Yeah, this... Have I made it too long? Is that the issue? think it's too long. No rotor brake is... The rotor brake is off. This is all about just bad timing with the thrusters. See, now it's working. Okay, so I need that to be a little bit less. But this is about where I wanted it to go. I wanted it to go almost vertical. Actually, maybe 150 was right. Didn't look like it was about to make it off. Yeah, ideally for a ride like this, you would have an operator who's doing it to make it work and timing it and changing it all, because doing this by timer block isn't ideal. Maybe I should try it with sensor. So if I put a sensor on here. I have to just step out for a moment. I'll be back in just a sec. I need to let someone into my house. Sorry, guys. Alrighty. Where shall I put this sensor so that it can pick up the subgrid of the pirate ship? I reckon probably about here-ish. Should work. And then it'll just be a matter of toggling stuff on and off. Info, show sensor field range, control panel, show on HUD. Let's set up this volume so it works. Yeah. It's not ideal with that thing still going in the background. The left extent should be right down. The rest of it doesn't really matter as long as it sticks out far enough to detect the pirate ship. So I can't put the sensor on the ride to pick the ground up, because as soon as I do that, it's going to push both on the upswing and the downswing, like when it's going backwards as well as forwards. That's why it needs to be on this side. Basically what's going to happen is when that sensor picks it up, it'll hit a timer which will have like a 1 second delay to turn the thrusters on so it can do the bit of upswing, and then it'll turn it on. As soon as it gets out of the sensor range, it'll turn off the thruster, and then it'll just do the rest of the swing naturally. So it'll have just a shorter period of time where the thrusters are active, but it should be enough for the swing to be added to each time a little bit. So it should work like this. What I need to do now is stop these. Set up the sensor. Set up actions. Let's get rid of... that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Set up action. Oh wait, hang on. Yeah! Can't you make it switch its function to switch the action of the sensor? No. Sensors, I'll show you in a second. So sensors have an action when you enter the, when the thing gets activated, and one when it turns off. That's it. You'd have to use multiple sensors to do that sort of thing, and I think this system should work just as well. Thanks, Duckbeer. So what I want to do is trigger now, or start on the first timer block. That'll be the thing, the actions when the when you enter the sensor area, and then the second one will be a trigger now for when it leaves. Or actually it could be a start as well. So timer block 3 should turn on the thrusters, and timer block 4 should turn off the thrusters, which I think it already does. And then both should have a delay of 1 second. And now let's just crank those up a bit. Let's see what happens. So thrusters are off. Sensor gets triggered, thrusters go on. Leaves, thrusters turn off. Okay, put a bit too much power on the thrusters. Oh, that's epic though if it got to stay up there. I think I'm going round. Yep. Round we go. Okay, I think I might have a problem here. Let's put a little bit of resistance on this rotor so we do have a bit of slowdown. Braking torque. Let's reduce these down to 125. I feel like I'm still accelerating. This is not working! I was trying to take advantage of this being in a constant state to see where I could get the sweet spot. With a programmable block and a script, yes, it is possible to detect the rotational angles, but I don't want to do this with a script. I don't want to have to learn how to script and then do these things with scripts. And I also would prefer to keep it timer block run rather than script run anyway. Okay, let's see how this plays out. Oh yeah. No. Sargesos, I can't add anything to the top of this. The moment I make this counterweighted and balanced across the rotor, the thrusters stop working to push it. So that's not an option. So basically the way thrust overrides on subgrids work in Space Engineers, they will only... Because thrusters push through the center of mass, the center of mass of this thing has to be offset from where the rotor is. So that's why I've made everything really heavy to push the center of mass as close to where the ship is as possible. So if I put any sort of thing on top, it would detract from the effect of the thrusters. Not that I need their full effect, because they're working just fine without it. Oh yeah, that's a good idea, Eisen. Put a sensor at the top so if it gets too high, it switches off the sensor temporarily. But how would I detect too high up? I need something that sticks out at only one point on this grid. No, sensors can detect players, subgrids, large grids, small grids. They can detect a lot more than just players. These are your detection options. The very top of the frame, a very narrow field will still pick up when... let's see how narrow I can get away with it. Let's turn off show and HUD for this one anyway. And let's reduce the back extent all the way up. Left, all the way down, right, all the way down. And detect players off, detect subgrids on. I want to see if that detects it. I think it's constantly detecting it right now. I need it just a little bit higher. Dang. Oh, now it's turned off, and now it's turned on. What if I do this? I can't place it on a half block, Chicken Little. So I can't use a half block. John hard, left, right. So then I could, with this position I should be able to make it work. Take subgrids on. And then if I use one of those other timers to temporarily turn off the other sensor for a time. Why are you staying on? Green, that's not right. So let's turn off. Audible. Ah! Where's the proximity alert off? And this probably needs to be a little bit wider. And... right, so the idea of this one, this sensor, will be anytime the pirate ship hits that sensor range, it should turn off this sensor down here for maybe 20 seconds, allowing the ride to settle down a bit before it then starts swinging up again. And that'll hopefully prevent a full rotation. Especially if I set this a bit wider, because it actually probably needs to be wider than it is. Yeah, something like that. So now what I should be able to do is grab the safety sensor, set up actions, we grab the second set of timers. You can use the rotor limits to do it, but the rotor limits does it in a really jarring fashion. You'll just hit it. You'll just thump up against it and instantly stop, and that kind of defeats the look of this being like a real-world ride. So that's why I wanted to go with something a little more complex, even though I don't necessarily need to. So on entry to that, I want it to just turn this sensor off. To block off. But on exit, I want it to start on timer block 5. Timer block 5 can then turn on this sensor, but it will do so after 20 seconds. And then I should be able to try this on a higher thrust. Let's see if this works. So it is gaining. Sensor was triggered. Did the thrusters turn on? I don't think so. And now we just have to wait 20 seconds. And then next time it should try and push itself up again, I think. Sensor's still off. You can see it's red. Let's see if the sensor turns it back. So there we go, sensor's back on. Now next time it swings up, the thrusters did go on that time. I think. And it pushes. And sensor off. Yes! Nice one, Eisen. This works perfectly. This does exactly what I want. And I can make this range a little bit less if I want it to swing up just a bit further. So let's bring that back to 2.5 meters. So that'll give it a bit further before it has to turn off that sensor. This is great success, indeed. Yes! Awesome. Well, I would say that for today... yeah, timer for the total length of the ride and all that sort of stuff, I will figure out at a later stage, I think. For today, I think I'm going to call it there, though. We've got a Ferris wheel, a pirate ride. Next time I might start working on either teacups or even showing you guys what I had in mind for making a roller coaster to work. But I kind of want to do the roller coaster last, because I want it to kind of move around the whole park. So next time will probably be teacups. So there's all that, and plenty more to come. And I will see you guys then. Thanks for coming along.